Hello everyone, welcome to God's What Say Day. So yes, let's go back to the United States of America. This time around, we are going to be talking about Latinos for Trump and how they are crying their lungs out with regret. And the funny part about all of this, where Black people have been saying, hey, Latinas, remember you are not white in America, and Donald Trump, when he comes as the president of the United States, you will be one of his targets when it comes to deportation. But no, the Latinos were like, oh, screw you. We are, what do you call this? Latinos for Trump type of situation. So there is this word that I recently found out about, FAFO. It's FAFO. Apparently, you can look at it you can actually, when you talk about it, you have to separate the FA and the FO. Basically, what it means is F around and you'll find out. So these are now the 61% Latinos for Trump that voted for Trump. They basically F'd around. Now, the FO find out. F around and find out. Now they are finding out that Donald Trump lied through his teeth. Because if you're looking at the executive order, where now ICE is all over the United States deporting, guess who? In numbers, yeah, the Latinos. Yeah, those that are coming from Ecuador, those that are coming from Mexico, those that are coming from Nicaragua, those that are coming from basically the South American continent. Yeah, they are finding out how it's like to not listen to the very people now they are turning around and begging that they unite with. And these will be the African Americans. And the African Americans are like, excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? We warned you. We told you. We begged you. But you still said Latinos for Trump. Now you are finding out after effing around. I think I like this FIFO thing. Honestly, I think I really like it. So in this video, I just want to play some few clips for you guys just to see the situation that is happening in the Latino community in the United States of America. 61% of Latinas voted for Donald Trump. I'm not quite sure what they thought they were voting for. However, first, before I play you all the other clips, I want you to understand this lady. I think she explained it perfectly, why some of the Latinas voted for Donald Trump and how they look at themselves, etc. and so on. And the Black folks are just looking at them losing their ish. Yeah, I like F around and you'll find out. I think we should adopt that in South Africa as well. F around and you'll find out when you vote ANC in 2026 local government elections. Yeah, F around and you'll find out. Oh, don't even get me started in 2029. Don't. Anyways, I will be reacting to these clips, but I think towards the end of this video. But first, I want you guys to understand what's happening in the United States right now, especially the Latinas losing their minds. Oh yeah, don't worry. It's not just Latinas that are losing their minds. There are white people in America who are also losing their minds, most of whom are farmers. Oh, by the way, did you hear the price of food, gas, which we call it petrol, all went up. Eggs went up. Yeah. Anyways, here are the clips.
A few of you have actually asked me to explain why Latinos would vote for Trump. And that's a really good question, and there's actually a lot of reasons, so it's time to get real about Latinos for Trump. Let's begin with the conversation of class. Wealthy people tend to lean more Republican because Republicans advocate for lower taxes for the rich. So wealthier Latinos lean more towards Donald Trump. The second reason would be internalized racism and internalized xenophobia, or otherwise known as the pick-me people. The people that say, my family came here the right way, it's not that hard, why can't people just follow the laws, we're not like them, we're different. Those are the people that want to be accepted by white white Americans so bad that they will openly bash their community. There's a lot of those people, and those people also tend to lean towards Donald Trump. The third and the biggest reason why I believe there's a lot of Latinos that support Trump is because our community is incredibly conservative. The Catholic and Christian church have a lot of power within our community. Conservative views when it comes to women's health and the LGBTQIA tend to dominate our community. When you put all those things together, it's not that hard to understand why so many Latinos support Trump.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense what this lady is saying about the Latinos that voted for Donald Trump. I think as well, it's not only about these things only that this lady listed, but I also think it was a way of them seeking for mercy from Donald Trump. Like, listen, if you ever become president, just know who also contributed in putting you there on the pedestal. Please do not deport my family that are undocumented. Because it's quite funny that some of the Latinas that voted for Donald Trump, family members or some family members, even some friends from wherever they come from in South America, they are in America working but undocumented. Some of them, they also lost their status as a visitor in the United States for whatever purpose, but they went ahead and put that X next to Donald Trump. So I think this lady is onto something, and I totally agree with what she is saying, which kind of like also makes me realize that in South Africa as well, the people that actually vote for the ANC, with all the opulence that they show off right before our faces, they think they also have a piece of that opulence by seeing the so-called leaders driving in Lamborghinis and Ferraris and wearing Gucci's and Louis Vuitton and etc. and so on. And then they come to our communities driving those very same cars of monies probably even stolen from them so that their lives are improved. So they think by voting the ANC, they are also part and parcel of that opulence. Like, oh, look at the ANC, us who supported, we are rich type of situation, without realizing that they're actually selling the country to these whatever these people you want to call them. I would leave it to you for you to call. Well, I don't know what names to call them, honestly speaking, but I have my own. Anyways, let's continue watching now the outcry.
Exit polling data tells the story of what happened during this election. Look at this. This is coming from NBC News. I want you to look down there at Latino men. 54% for Donald Trump. Now, this is following that rally in Madison Square Garden, but also look at black men. 78% went for Kamala Harris, but 20% for Donald Trump. Usually Republicans score in the single digits. And finally, of course, white women, 52% for Donald Trump, and then you have 47% for Kamala Harris. Now, Donald Trump, according to Pew, received 53% of the vote from white women in 2020. So basically, he didn't lose hardly any white women, despite the Dobbs decision overturning Roe.
I just spent the last 30 minutes crying as I read about all the mass deportations that are starting to occur, and also seeing okay, gonna try to make it through, seeing the aftermath of the fires in Los Angeles, and knowing that a lot of the population that was affected were Latinos and people of color. And I just felt so much grief and anger, because growing up being an immigrant kid, you know, and having to grow up with a realization that you could go to school and your parents could get deported while you're at school, and you come home and they're not there, was a real fear that I had as a child. Also, having to watch your parents go work their second job as soon as you got home from school, and locking yourself in your room because that was the only way to keep you safe, because your parents couldn't afford a babysitter. And growing up with all of that, you know, and just trying your best and going to school and pretending like you're just like every other kid, is an experience that I don't wish on anyone. And it's been so hard to see the amount of hate that has grown as the Trump MAGA supporters have kind of come out of the woodwork.
Dear Latinos for Trump, now that you've seen that your master is going against your own interests, such as we've been warning you for the past couple years or so, now you want to come back and unite? Oh, we have to unite with each other. Fuck you. Go to your master, get back on your knees, and assume the position.
Look at this, y'all.
This is so crazy that we voted for Trump. We trust him with the word that he promised us Latinos. This is crazy that starting next week, multiple cities will be hitting immigration. That is so crazy that multiple people are scared to go to work. When I work at, a lot of Latinos did not go to work. And that's crazy because we have a living too. I hate that I voted for him. Now I'm so scared for my family and y'all family. Y'all, we need to come together and do something.
She followed up with this picture post of her looking distraught. And she puts up at the top, when my grandma woke me up, she said, just in case if ICE takes me, make sure you don't go down the wrong path and make sure you keep family together. And my grandpa texted me saying, if ICE shows up at my work, take care of your family and don't go the path I took, mija. Los amo a todos. Los amos a todos means I love you all. I know she wasn't talking to the black community when she said that we have to unite. She's talking to the Hispanic community because they do need to unite. Black people tried to tell them before the election. So I know they can't be talking. She can't be talking to black people. This is what we mean when we say that you vote against your own interests. I don't know what it is that you heard that made you think voting for Donald Trump was going to make you safe, because what I heard all throughout the campaign season, I heard Donald Trump repeatedly saying that there will be mass deportations and they will be bloody. And then towards the end of the campaign season, he and Stephen Miller kicked it up a notch and said that the mass deportations would include overturning birthright citizenship. And then they told you that they would get rid of the entire family. They were going after DACA recipients. They told you this before you went into the voting booth to vote against your interest and your family's interest. When you went into the voting booth and voted for Donald Trump, you voted for him to deport your family. These are the consequences of your actions.
This is so crazy that we voted for Trump. We trust him with the word that he promised us Latinos.
The word that he promised was that he was going to deport you. The coming together to do something about this is called voting, and that happened a couple of months ago on November 5th, and you still decided to walk your Latina ass up in that voting booth and vote for a man that repeatedly told you that he was coming for you to deport you. And at this point, more than anything, I want you to get exactly what you voted for. I want you to feel the powerful consequences of your vote. If they do take your grandma and your grandpa, I want you to know that you did that to them. They got taken away because of you. And for the rest of us as a community, we can never let MAGA voters like her forget how damaging their vote was. We need to constantly remind them. Never let them forget. As far as us getting together to do something about it, I will never in my life trust a Latino for Trump. You're a danger to yourself, you're a danger to your family, and you're a danger to your community. And I want nothing to do with you, and I don't feel sorry for you. I've been getting some comments calling me divisive, saying, right now's not the time for finger pointing. We need to work with Latinos for Trump. Latinos for Trump already divided us when they walked into that voting booth on November 5th and made a conscious decision to sell out their family, to sell out their friends, and to sell out their entire community as a whole to ICE. And for what exactly? A pat on the head from the whites? For white proximity? For white validation? I am not the one causing the division, so don't come here and try to gaslight me. I voted to keep their families safe. I'm not the one who voted to have ICE raids on their families. Latinos for Trump are the ones who voted to have ICE raids on their own families and their own friends and their own community. A majority of Latinos foolishly gave your votes to Trump. And how did Trump thank y'all? By making it his very top priority on day one to deport as many of you, as many of us, as he possibly can. He said, get the fuck out. It doesn't matter if you're illegal or not. It doesn't matter if you're a criminal or not. He wants you out because you're not white.
Because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I know it's going to be controversial, but I'm actually rooting for Latinas and Latinos who voted for Trump. I really am. I really hope that they get everything that they voted for, and I hope that they never forget who they voted for. So when they're waving goodbye to their undocumented partner because they got deported back, I want them to remember who they voted for. When their abuelita needs life-saving care, but there is no Medicaid because it's been slashed to the bone, I want them to remember who they voted for. When they watch their nieces and nephews struggle because birthright citizenship is gone and all of a sudden their family isn't welcome, I want them to remember who they voted for. When they have a child with special needs but there's no funding, no resources, no Department of Education, I want them to remember who they voted for. When all of a sudden their family's neighborhood is targeted with more policing instead of community support, I want them to remember who they voted for. When there's no money for your family but a whole bunch for billionaires, I want them to remember who they voted for. When environmental protections vanish and the air is so disgustingly polluted that their kids develop asthma or something similar, I want them to remember who they voted for. When discrimination increases and they are harassed incessantly because they will never be white, I want them to remember who they voted for. Call me petty, but sometimes getting exactly what you voted for is the only way to understand it.
Y'all, we need to come together and do something.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Because remember we had told y'all that it was going to happen. Remember we were telling y'all that they didn't want y'all here, and we did? Remember we were telling y'all that voting for Harris wasn't going to really be in our best interest or protect us? Remember we had told you that it wasn't a selfish decision, but voting for Harris or Biden would have been ensuring that all communities were safer? Remember we had told you? Because we were trying to come together. Remember, we was trying to come together, right? And then y'all said, no, fuck y'all. Fuck y'all, little darks. Remember that? You remember that? Surely I wish it hadn't come to this, but I'm finding it hard to find a lick of sympathy for people who disrespected the fuck out of us because we were trying to say, hey, don't let leopards eat your face. But here you go. Okay. Come together my ass.
I will say what a lot of people won't say. This comment comes from a video that I made telling Black and Latino community to unite. Currently, there is less than 10% of people of color in STEM. Use my platform to make sure that children of color have better opportunities into these careers. But every time I speak about this, I get a lot of comments like this. Majority, if not all, come from the Hispanic Latino community. It breaks my heart to see the racism that exists in the Latino community. Racism against other Hispanics. Racism against Black people. I'm not saying all Hispanics. As an Afro-Latina, that breaks my heart.
No, you guys, they're not just getting people with criminal records. They are doing checkpoints. And with the immigrant, so this is what happened. Yesterday, my mom got pulled over at 10 a.m. outside of the house. But my mom is a citizen. She does have a citizenship to America. So they pulled her over and they advised her that they have a checkpoint and that they need to see her driver license or documentation. So my mom showed her ID and they let her go.
This morning, my dad was pulling out to leave. My mom was going to meet him out in the front because they were going to take the same car, but they were just going to park the other car out on the street. And as my dad was pulling out, a bunch of undercovers, pulled him over and asked him for a driver license and said, we are doing a checkpoint. We need to see, driver license, etc. Obviously, my dad is an immigrant. My dad does not have documentation. So obviously they detained my dad. So my mom pulled over and she called me crying. The unfortunate part is that I'm in Texas because it's my grandpa's 90th birthday party, his dad's birthday party today. So, my mom, he had left his phone in the truck. ICE took him to the center, and then my dad called my mom from there and told her, they're taking me straight to Las Vegas. They have executive orders to pick up whoever is illegal, is an immigrant, and send them straight through. Not even put them in the jail. They're going to detain them at the Las Vegas Detention Center. All the immigrants that are already there, they're going to go drop them off in TJ. He left his phone in the truck. Luckily, the ICE detainee or police officer let my mom take his phone back so he can call us when he does get to TJ. So they met her at the gate. My mom said, my daughter wants to speak to you. We have a lawyer. And he said, we're not getting involved with that. We have executive orders to shoot whoever's undocumented straight back. Not even put them in the jail system, just shoot them straight back. So it's not just criminal records, you guys. This is all immigrants are doing checkpoints. They're not caring about your rights. They don't care about the law. They're out there raw.
I think this is the epitome of FAFO. F around and you will find out. And now they are finding out. Guys, in any democracy, what you vote for, you deserve what comes thereafter. Right? You need to always put that in the back of your mind when you go to the polls. That when I vote and when my child doesn't get a job, I voted for it. When I vote and there is sewage in front of my house that runs for days, weeks, months, and possibly even years, I voted for that. When crime is so high in your community, where children are being poisoned by foreign nationals with their spaza shop and items that they buy, we don't know where, you voted for it. So what I'm trying to say here, you deserve what you vote for. So don't go around now, start crying when you knew all this time that you were being played, you were being lied to. Hey, listen, 2026 is upon us. Sooner or later, you are going to start seeing political parties making promises. Or before they start making promises, they are going to start, or you're going to start hearing about manifesto launches. In these manifestos is where they get you. Lie through their teeth on what they are going to do for you. We know now, after voting, who benefits out of us standing in queues at election day, and we get nothing as the voters. Nothing. And who benefits out of our votes? Well, I don't have to tell you. They jumped borders. They were swimming on crocodiles' backs to get to South Africa, and they benefit out of your vote. So when you vote for that party, you deserve it. Everything that is going to happen to you, unfortunately. And there's no way one needs to cry now. Listen, guys, I never voted. In fact, I have in 2024, I think, the ANC. And I think at that time as well, I was beginning to become politically mature and also mature as a person as well. And I started looking around like, wait a minute. Y'all have been in power for, I think, 20 years at that point. And okay, I get it. 400 years of damage is not going to be fixed in 20 years. But my problem was, why is it only the politically connected in the ANC are the ones that are benefiting more than everyone else when it came to BEE, when it came to, remember Umsobo Mvu Youth Fund? Yeah, remember that? How come today that particular program has never produced even one black billionaire out of the youth that it was supposed to have empowered? Where? And then when they realize that, oh my goodness, South Africans are waking up, they change Umsobomvu's name into NYDA. I think that is a Youth Development Agency or something like that. Again, I'll ask the same question. Where are the youth billionaires? At least millionaires worth in hundreds of millions, in probably in dollars, that benefited out of this program and developed them into multimillionaires. They don't exist. You know why they don't exist? Because the monies that are allocated to these programs goes in the pockets. Yes, in the pockets of those that are supposed to distribute this to the youth so that they are empowered. Yeah, now you see where our problem is. Now you understand why we are where we are. BEE, scrap the whole thing. It does not benefit South Africans at all. And I'm talking black ones. So same goes in your communities. You need to look around. Ask yourself a question. Will this lack of water in my community be solved if I voted the same way I did in 2016? Was it 2021? And I can tell you no. And this thing of us voting like we are gone out of our minds and building, as a result, coalitions that change the mayoral seat and the speaker seat as if they are changing their undies. We need to put an end to that. We need to choose who we're going to give more votes to, that other parties, when they try to formulate a coalition, they will still be short of. They will still be short of. Let's get that political party at least 35%. Well, 35% is still, let's say 45%. Well, you get what I'm trying to say here. Because we don't want to give any political party majority, whether it's simple majority or overwhelming majority. No more of that, guys, because we've seen what they do with that power. Can we learn something from the Latinos for Trump? Can we use them as a yardstick for 2026 and for 2029? Can we do that? You cannot cry after voting the same way you always did. 2 weeks later, you're on the streets marching, burning libraries and hospitals and clinics because you are not being provided for. No, come on. Let's grow up this time around. I think this is my reaction towards those videos. I think the Latinas, that 61%, they did not think about it. They did not think about a family member who's undocumented, and they went and voted for Trump anyways. They didn't think about them. So everything that they've done, it's their fault. And they have no one else to blame. And I don't think any AA should even consider joining them in whatever unity they are calling for. AAs have always fought on their own, and whenever they try to invite others like the Latinos, they always show them the middle finger. So, well, it's a bed they made. It's a bed they are going to lie on, unfortunately. 4 years can be a very long time. Well, they say 4 years is a long time in a general form, but politically can be very short. But it looks like the entire world is going to be having a very long 4 years with this man in the White House. But anyways, what do I know? Now the eyes shall be watching. Please don't leave this video without liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you later. Goodbye.